because you clicked here to have Mrs. Tomlinson read to you aloud the Michigan Backyard Fossils Activity 2. A trace is a record of biological activity in nature. Some examples of traces include footprints, paw prints, or hoof prints, burrows made by rabbits or snakes, holes left in the ground by plant roots, and feeding marks. We can classify traces according to the time that they were formed. There are two main types of traces: trace fossils and modern traces. A trace fossil is evidence of prehistoric biological activity that can teach us about dinosaurs or other ancient creatures. A modern trace is a clue to recent biological activity, and it is produced by animals or plants that are alive today. If you want to go hunting for modern traces, you'll need to know where to look. One great place to search for traces is in cement sidewalks. Because cement hardens quickly, plants or animals sometimes leave permanent impressions in dried cement. You can also search near a river, lake, or ocean. Soft sediments, such as mud and sand, are perfect for footprint formation, and you could find anything from squirrel prints to frog prints in the mud. You may also find bird tracks, dog footprints, or even human footprints. Traces include any impression or other preserved sign of activity. For example, feeding, scratching, burrowing, walking, or resting. Many animals, plants, protists, and bacteria have left their traces behind that can be tubes, lines, scratches, or feces. When you find a modern trace, you can follow the same four-step process that paleontologists use when they find a trace fossil. Okay. So you're going to actually go outside and you are going to find 3 modern traces, and you are going to try and identify them. So there's identification. You're going to think about what kind of living thing made this trace. If it looks like a plant impression, is it a leaf or a branch? If it looks like a footprint, was it made by a paw or a hoof? Make some guesses and record them. Excavation. So excavation means removing material from the ground. You may not be able to remove your trace, especially if it is a footprint, but there are other ways to create a record of your discovery. Try sketching the trace or snap a photograph. So yes, today you can take your phone outside with you to take a picture to insert into your document if you want. If you found an impression in cement, you can make a rubbing of it. That's by laying a piece of paper over the impression. Hold the paper down and use a crayon or pencil to cover over the entire trace. A print will appear on the paper. Then you're going to do some research. Use the internet to confirm your identification of the trace. And then share. Yes, I'll ask you to share at the end of the hour, to share your information with others, to consult with one another and give each other feedback based on their findings. So you're going to go outside and we're going to walk around. It'll be hard if you're really walking. You'll have to really observe the ground. You need to decide what kind of living thing made the trace and take a guess. So you're going to do this 3 times. You're going to sketch a picture or do a rubbing or just kind of, take a picture with your phone, and that's fine too. And what did you find when you researched the trace? Like, was it a big animal, a small animal? Was it a stick? Did you know that it was a plant? That kind of thing. So after you share what you found, what kind of feedback did you get? Was it helpful? Did you agree with your identification of the trace? So when you show someone about the trace that you have located and what you've documented about it, did they agree that your documentation was actually accurate? So there are 3 traces you're going to look for and record, and we will share at the end of the hour.